In a small farming town, there was one farmer everyone talked about, not because he owned the most land, not because he drove the biggest tractors, not because he came from a wealthy farming family. People talked about him because he was doing something nobody else dared to do. He trusted artificial intelligence. While other farmers relied on methods passed down through generations, he believed technology could help solve problems that had challenged farmers for centuries. Most people thought he was making a terrible mistake. Some laughed at him. Others called him lazy. Many believed he was wasting money on machines that would never work. But within a few years, the farmer everyone mocked would become the most successful farmer in town, and his story would change the way many people viewed the future of agriculture. Farming has never been easy. Every growing season brings uncertainty. A farmer can spend months preparing fields, planting crops, and caring for them, only to watch everything disappear because of drought, disease, pests, or extreme weather. For generations, farmers have accepted these risks as part of the job, but in recent years, those challenges have become even more difficult. Weather patterns have become increasingly unpredictable. Production costs continue to rise. Labor shortages affect farms across many regions. Profit margins grow smaller. Many farmers work harder than ever while earning less than they did years before. Daniel faced the same challenges. Every season felt like a gamble. One year excessive rainfall damaged his fields. Another year drought reduced yields. Some years pests destroyed large portions of his crops before he could stop them. No matter how hard he worked, uncertainty always seemed to be waiting around the corner. He knew something had to change. One evening, while researching new agricultural methods, Daniel discovered something that immediately caught his attention: artificial intelligence. At first, he was skeptical. Most people associated AI with computers, software companies, and futuristic technology. Agriculture seemed like a completely different world, but the more he learned, the more interested he became. Researchers claimed AI could analyze crop health. It could monitor soil conditions. It could predict weather impacts. It could identify disease outbreaks before they became visible to farmers. Some systems could even control irrigation automatically. The claim sounded almost unbelievable. Yet the evidence continued growing. Around the world, farms using AI-powered technology were reporting improvements in productivity, efficiency, and profitability. Daniel became convinced that agriculture was entering a new era. The problem was that adopting this technology would not be cheap. The equipment required a significant investment. The software subscriptions cost money. The sensors, drones, and monitoring systems all required resources that many farmers were unwilling to risk. Most people around him thought the entire idea was ridiculous. They believed farming should remain exactly the way it had always been. But Daniel made his decision. He invested a large portion of his savings into AI-powered farming technology. Soon, smart sensors appeared throughout his fields. Drones began flying above crops. Digital maps covered computer screens. Automated systems started collecting information 24 hours a day. The reaction from the community was immediate. People laughed. Neighbors joked whenever they saw drones flying overhead. Some called the farm a science experiment. Others predicted complete failure. Every new piece of technology became another reason for criticism. Many believed Daniel was trying to replace common sense with computers. What they didn't understand was that the technology wasn't replacing farming knowledge, it was enhancing it. Every day, the AI collected enormous amounts of information: soil moisture, temperature, nutrient levels, plant growth, weather forecasts, crop conditions. The system processed thousands of data points every hour. Patterns that would normally go unnoticed suddenly became visible. The AI could identify tiny changes before they became major problems. It could recommend actions based on real-time conditions, and most importantly, it continued learning every single day. At first, the improvements were subtle. Plants appeared healthier, resources were used more efficiently, water consumption decreased, fertilizer waste dropped, crop development became more consistent. But most people ignored these early signs. They assumed Daniel was simply getting lucky. Then came the drought. It was one of the harshest dry seasons the region had experienced in years. Rainfall nearly disappeared. Soil moisture levels dropped rapidly. Farmers watched their crops struggle under intense heat. Across the region, fields began showing signs of severe stress. Some crops stopped growing altogether. Others started dying. Many farmers feared they would lose a large portion of their harvest. Yet something unusual was happening on Daniel's farm. His crops remained healthier than expected. The reason was simple. The AI irrigation system continuously monitored moisture levels throughout the farm. Instead of watering entire fields equally, it delivered water only where it was truly needed. Every drop was used efficiently. Nothing was wasted. While neighboring farms struggled, Daniel's crops continued growing. People started paying attention. Some couldn't believe what they were seeing. Others began asking questions. For the first time, the laughter started fading. Then another challenge appeared. Pests invaded farms throughout the area. The insects spread quickly. By the time many farmers noticed the damage, significant losses had already occurred. Daniel's AI system detected unusual patterns before the damage became obvious. The software recognized signs of stress in certain plants. Alerts were generated immediately. Action was taken quickly. The infestation was controlled before it could spread. Once again, technology provided an advantage, and once again, the results were impossible to ignore. As harvest season approached, excitement grew. Everyone wanted to know whether the technology would truly deliver results. The answer arrived when the harvest began. Truck after truck left Daniel's farm loaded with crops. The yields exceeded expectations. Production increased. Costs decreased. Resources were used more efficiently. Profits grew significantly. The numbers shocked the entire community. The farmer everyone mocked was now outperforming nearly everyone around him. The same people who had laughed at his investment were suddenly asking for advice. How did the technology work? What systems was he using? Could other farms achieve similar results? The conversation had completely changed. People no longer saw AI as a joke. They saw it as an opportunity. Soon, farmers from neighboring communities began visiting Daniel's farm. They expected to find robots replacing humans. Instead, they discovered something entirely different. Farmers were still making decisions. Farmers were still managing operations. Farmers were still responsible for success. The technology simply provided better information. It helped identify problems earlier. It reduced guesswork. It improved efficiency. It allowed farmers to make smarter choices. The more people learned, the more they realized AI wasn't replacing agriculture. It was strengthening it. Daniel's success reflected a much larger transformation happening across the world. Agriculture is entering one of the most important periods of innovation in history. Artificial intelligence is helping farmers monitor crops from space. Drones can inspect thousands of acres in hours. Smart tractors can operate with extraordinary precision. Advanced systems can predict disease outbreaks before they occur. Technology is allowing farms to produce more food while using fewer resources. As the world's population continues growing, the need for efficient food production becomes increasingly important. Future farms may look very different from those of previous generations, but one thing will remain the same. Farmers will continue feeding the world. The tools may change, the methods may evolve, but the mission remains unchanged. Looking back, Daniel's story was never really about technology. It was about adaptation. It was about recognizing opportunity before everyone else. It was about being willing to take a risk when others chose comfort. The farmer everyone mocked didn't become successful because he ignored traditional farming knowledge. He became successful because he combined generations of experience with the best tools available. While others laughed at the future, he prepared for it. And when the future finally arrived, he was ready. Sometimes the people who seem foolish today are simply seeing tomorrow before everyone else. And somewhere, on a farm not too different from Daniel's, another innovation is waiting to change agriculture forever. This version reads naturally as a documentary narration and should run approximately 15 to 20 minutes when delivered at a steady storytelling pace.